Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. I am so happy to have you joining me today. I am a professional intuitive empath for those of you that are new and are finding me, and I do a lot of work with recovery regarding emotional abuse, relationships when you have had them with people that are disordered, cluster B, narcissism, energy vampires, Jezebel spirits, all that stuff. You'll find a lot of information about that on my channel. But I had a question from a viewer about karmic relationships. She said to me that it is something, I don't recall your name, so I'm so sorry, but she said it is something that I've been hearing a lot about, and it's something that I've noticed too as a reader, because I do readings here on my channel, and I also watch and enjoy other readers. And it is a theme that has come up a lot. People are talking a lot about the karmic. This is a karmic situation. It's a karmic relationship. Well, we know what our soulmate relationships help us do. They help us to transcend. It's a person we came in with, and we made an emotional pact before we came into this life to kind of work through some things together. Well, when you look at a karmic relationship, it doesn't seem that much more different, except there's a varying level of toxicity, I believe. That's just my assessment. I would love to hear your feedback below if you are a practitioner, an empath, or you are a person existing in these relationships, and maybe you've had a soulmated relationship, maybe you've had a karmic relationship. It's hard to differentiate the two upon first glance, but I want to just outline the 13 reasons or tips, tricks, or identifying ways that you can see if you are maybe experiencing your own karmic relationship. And I had a spiritual download to connect them to the major arcana tarot cards. I want you to see what that looks like and kind of describe the energy of it to you. So the first thing to understand is that they repeat patterns. And so the card that I intuited would work with this is the card of the world. Now, usually, and I think for soulmated relationships and karmic relationships, our goal is to graduate from it. And this card of the world in a reading would mean we're graduating from one level to the next. But what I also see when I'm reading for people that are in unhealthy, toxic relationship loops is this cyclical pattern of behavior. Do you see the woman in the yoni there? That yoni is a circle, an egg actually, and it goes round and round. So when we're not getting a lesson, we will go around and around and around in a situation. I'm going to pull out my handy dandy unicorn pen to be my pointer. So we will go around and around and around in a situation until we finally evolve out of it. So here's the situation with this. When you're dealing with a karmic relationship and you are repeating the patterns, you are usually in an on and off again relationship. And it's a major sign that it's a karmic one when you're in an on and off again relationship. It really should be a big red flag. So if you're going around in those circles and repeating that, those are the flags, and you're experiencing the same kind of relationship problems over and over, pay attention, because these kind of relationships remain stagnant, because the only way you can grow from them is by letting them go. You got to put it down. You got to put it down, guys. So that is the first sign. The second sign is they are selfish. I intuited this card to be ideal for selfish, and that's a card of the devil. And when you see it, we're automatically thinking, because of the way we've been socialized as a puritanical Christian society, ooh, evil, it's so bad. Well, I want to unlock this, because really, if you're looking at the tarot card, this is Pan. This is the Pan, and Pan is a representative of, it's like half man, half goat, that kind of energy. It's about earthly, being bound to our lower vibration. So I want to demystify the devil card. We can't demystify the devil. Evil is evil, good is good, bad is bad. But when you see this card, there's a vibration that I'm receiving from it. I don't know about other tarot readers that may happen to see this. And so when we're looking down here, this is the things that have us bound. So when you're in a karmic relationship, you see? So it's like, think of the 7 deadly sins, lust, greed, all of that stuff, right? So if you're in a karmic relationship, the karmic relationships usually do not respect healthy boundaries in their partners. They serve only their self-interest and their needs. They are a perfect template for forming abuse or codependent relationship complexes. So while one person in a karmic relationship is very invested into it, the other person views it more as a convenience. That was an epiphany to me, because I could swear that I was having some soulmated relationships, and I was swearing that there was triangulation happening, and I was thinking maybe the person that I was being triangulated with was a karmic partner to that person, and it very well may be so. But I had to kind of take a look, and I thought, oh my goodness, this seems very interesting. They are very selfish. Now we're going to use this card also for the next thing, because they are very addictive. Now this card also represents addiction. I sometimes see this or the moon when we're dealing with addiction in a reading. And so what I want you to understand is that they are characterized by highs and lows when you're dealing with a karmic relationship. And there's high lows and passionate intensities. One or both partners is more in love with the idea of love based on superficial reasons, such as good looks or popularity or social or professional status. I had someone reach out to me and said that they feel like they're having this incredible affair with somebody in their office, and they are really, really like, oh, I'm so attracted and drawn to this person. But I heard her in her reading describe that the person is popular, and there was an attraction there because she liked the popularity of the person, and she has a history from what our work together of dealing with mean girl energy. So this is something she's going to have to work out, and I think that is why this relationship came to be in her life. So that is it. There's an addictive nature to that karmic relationship, and in a karmic relationship you will think that that person is a soulmate. It's a really kind of interesting optical illusion that's happening there. So that's the other thing. The fourth thing is they are controlling. I intuited the card of the Emperor, which is associated with Taurus, which is a fixed sign, and a fixed sign that is associated with control. Taurus is control, and they possess, okay? They possess. Their mantra, if the Tauruses could say something, was, I have. They really prize themselves on their possessions and what they have. So they're controlling. They're obsessive about the ownership of your partner. The other person becomes the center of your universe and the main source of your happiness, and you put them on a pedestal and are unable to see their flaws. Yikes, that one hit close to home. Now, every relationship you have is not karmic just if you put someone on a pedestal. Man, I had to take a look at myself because I've put some pedestals up for folks, and I've had to take a look at my motivations there, guys. Just like full transparency. You know me, we're going to talk about it here. The next thing, number 5, they feel destined. I intuited this card for destined because this is a card of lottery. This is a card of luck. This is a card of like something magical coming in. But let's go a little deeper here. When we're dealing with the Wheel of Fortune, at any time, we can be on this wheel. So that means we can be crushed, thrown under the bus. We can be ascending on the rise. We can be on the mountaintop enjoying great success. We could feel our power slipping. These signs are represented on the Wheel of Fortune. We have Taurus, we have Capricorn, we have Leo. And I want you to understand that with this, you think that you cannot live without this person. Now, if you got a lottery ticket, you'd be like, that's mine. I'm not giving that up, right? You think you cannot live without the person, and you both feel like somehow you're meant to be together. You cannot fathom why it keeps failing or not working, and you keep hoping that you get it right. And they are extremely hard to resist, just like a lottery ticket would be, and it keeps drawing you in, just like a lottery ticket would, until you learn what you need from it. We go back to the first card. Until you learn the lesson, you will not graduate. Okay, guys? So that's what's coming up here. So that's that. The sixth thing is there is an instant connection. Love at first sight. The card of the Lovers is what I picked here. You see them gazing into one another's eyes. That first connection. It's such relationships, the karmic relationships, are marked by immediate attraction. This person feels perfect for you. It feels like you have known them before, and you become instantly attached to them. The seventh sign of a codependent and or karmic relationship is they create dependency. I intuited the card of the Moon for this. This is about addictions. This is about illusions. This is about false thoughts and lucid dreaming and not being in touch with reality. This is about escapism. Okay, so whenever we're dependent on anything, we're escaping from what we need to deal with our own personal realities. You begin to feel consumed by the relationship, and it begins to occupy your thoughts all the time. Now, this is where I vary from what I was thinking was a soulmate relationship. I don't feel like the whole time that relationship existed that I was consumed by it all the time. I don't feel that way, but you know, maybe that is different. But I feel like this is where we take the more cynical turn. Not that the other places were not sinister and or cynical, but this is where we take a real turn here. You begin to feel consumed by the relationship. It begins to occupy your thoughts, and you can't help but handing them all the power. You become mentally and physically and emotionally dependent on this person. Have you ever been addicted to someone? I remember some of my first relationships when I was younger having real addictions to lovers and being like, I can't give this person up. Have you been there, guys? It's a real thing. So that is it. Number 8, they bring out your worst fears. I'm going to use this card again because this is about nightmares. This is about the things we don't want to take a look at. The moon. So they bring to the surface all the things you are deathly afraid of. Fear, abandonment, fear of commitment, fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of emotional engulfment, and all the skeletons hiding in your closet. I'm telling you, I'm wondering what I've been doing, because I certainly have looked at these relationships in the past and thought, I have got this figured out. I know what this is. And what I realized is maybe I didn't, but even if I did, this is something to pay attention to. If your karmic is bringing out all this stuff, they are very much a karmic. The thing about it with a karmic, and that's what we're going to get to towards the end, is it doesn't last. And it doesn't last, and you think I needed to have this and it had to be there, but it was about getting you to grow. Number 9, they are irrational. I intuited the Fool. They hold a mirror to your worst vulnerabilities and insecurities, and you start acting unlike yourself, and you do things that you normally wouldn't do. Now, as I was dealing with some relationship transitions, I found myself in great consultation with my angels quite often, and having to say to my angels, help me. And my angels would show me in moments where I was irrational, I was angry. Oh gosh. This situation helped me so much to get in touch with my shadow side. They started working with me on shadow several months ago, and the last few months they've taken me through it, y'all. I have been in the mud. I have been in the dirt. I have been in the dirt of my emotions. And what I want you to understand about that is when you're in the dirt of your emotions, now you can actually fully integrate as a healer and an empath if that is what you are aiming to be, or a light worker. But that is something that happens when you're dealing with somebody that may be irrational. Or you may become irrational in a relationship because it's something that you need to see. You need to see the other side of yourself here. And I wanted to talk to you about that specifically. They reveal your dark side. That's what I'm talking about. The shadow work that happens when you deal with a karmic. And it can happen in soulmate relationships too. But let's stick to the karmics, okay? So the revealing of your dark side, they show you your most undesirable and difficult characteristics that you were previously unaware of. And they painfully essentially remind you of how human you actually are. When I tell you guys that I was very proud of all the work I had done until very recently, I didn't realize how much more work I'd had to do. And full transparency, I am so human. I didn't realize how human. I didn't realize how I was capable of having these very low vibrational, energetic feelings, because everything in my life as an empath is love and light, love and light. So I hate this. Love and light, love and light. But what I realized is that there is ugliness in my soul. There are moments that can be provoked, and that's what a karmic will do. They will provoke you. They will provoke and evoke an emotion from you. So there are things that I struggled with, and I'm human like everybody. What are some of your worst fears when you're being triangulated in a relationship? Jealousy, fear of abandonment, fear of being replaced. All of that was in me, and it just got brought right up to the surface, and I had to deal with it. I rose above it, but when I tell you, I was white knuckling sometimes not to be in a terrible situation. There was a revelation that was made to me about that and these karmic relationships and why they're dangerous and why you cannot overstay your welcome when you realize what you're dealing with, if this is what you're dealing with. I still am not sure what I was dealing with, guys, but I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth to give you some examples here. In this one specific situation, I'm still parsing this together. But what I will say is that they showed me, they said, this is how people end up on Snapped. Can we talk about it? This is how people end up on the first 48. This is how people end up on Snapped. It is that they subscribe to their lower primal nature. They are not in a spiritual elevated state. They're not consulting with their angels. They're not consulting with their energy, and they're not asking for help. Because in those moments when you know someone's lying to you or provoking you or making you feel away, and you say, how can anybody make you feel away? I believe a karmic comes into your life to help you to get in touch with that shadow shadow side. I really do. Or a soulmate comes into your life to help you to understand some things about yourself that may need to change. But I saw that there are many people, they're called crimes of passion. Many people that can't figure out what's happening when they're in these relationships, and instead of just leaving and saying, you know what, this is not healthy because it's just not healthy, what they do is they stay and they stay and they stay, and then they end up in a situation where they subscribe to their primal nature. All of us are primal, survival of the fittest, and sometimes we don't channel that right. So that's something to understand. They reveal your dark side. The other thing about them is they're tumultuous, and I intuited this card, the Tower. The Tower is about a breakdown of structures. It's about quick structure breakdown, meaning you see this lightning hitting the top, everything changes instantaneously, nothing is predictable, and this is built on shaky ground. These relationships are incredibly volatile, especially the karmic ones, unpredictable. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to identify such a relationship and then learn to let it go for your own good. Everything comes back to the world. You've got to graduate or you've got to release, okay? They push your buttons, and I intuited for this one the Hangman, because this is a card of martyrdom and sacrifice, okay? The main purpose of these relationships is for you to learn how to properly love yourself and others, such as you stop trying to control your circumstance, become the master of your own ego, and focus on working on yourself. Listen here. Listen here. What did I just tell you? When you get into that lower vibration with ego, you can end up in some really hairy, squirrely situations. What I love about this and why I intuited this, as my angel showed it to me as the one, because this is a card of the person that says, I am not like the Christ, so don't hang me on the cross. So what a martyr is a person that would say in biblical times, do not hang me on the cross like the Christ. I'm not worthy enough to be hung right side up, but I will volunteer to be hung upside down. Now, here's the deal about this. You see this crown that's shining at the bottom there? I don't know if you guys can see that. What that to me is like someone that's diving for oysters and pearls. When you're diving, a free diver is holding their breath. They're in great pain. They're constricted. Their body even gets smaller, their lungs compress, but they come up with treasure. When you are in a relationship with a karmic and they're pushing your buttons, you have an opportunity to deep dive into shadow and to come back out realizing that's there. Yikes. I'm also grateful for shadow because shadow helps me to survive. Meaning, when I was dealing with all of my shadow stuff, as I've been transitioning through various relationships, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can be a bitch. Who knew? I knew, but I had always hid it. I'd always prided myself on being the nice, sweet empath. Over it. I'm done with it. I know it's a tool in my arsenal that I have now, and I can use it, and I can say, I have standards. I'm not taking this anymore. This is not fair. It doesn't feel good, and I don't like it. Before, it was all love and light. Let me help you through your stuff. But my buttons were pushed so much that I had to hold my breath and free dive down. And I volunteered, okay? Because I was like, this is wonderful. An idiot, okay? I volunteered for my evolution. You feel like an idiot, but when you come out of it, you're like, that was pretty cool. Wow, who knew? Who knew I knew that trick? Who knew I had these boundaries? Who knew that I would be able to stand up for myself? And even though there's sadness in it, I'm proud because you do the right thing when you exit a relationship that you know is never going to serve you and you know the other person is never going to be honest with you about. So that's another thing that happens. Let's see the last and final one, number 13. I didn't do really good with the numbers here, guys. So hopefully someone, if you see this, you can tag it in the bottom. The final thing is the karmics do not last. Now, here's the thing. With a soulmate relationship, I have found that they are often quite difficult and they cause you to have a lot of these same things. And so that's why I'm wondering, like, who is making these terminologies? I've done research and I've taken notes and I do what I can do. But in a soulmate relationship, usually I find soulmates live across the world, or they're long distance, or that's a May-December romance and they were born into each other's lives. But they usually don't make a day-to-day life partnership. Life partnership is different. That's the person you can be with every day. That's the person that you can spend your time with. And they may not be as exhilarating as a soulmate or even the karmic, but this is a person you can build a life with. Well, with the karmic relationship, they also don't last, similar to the soulmate relationship. So guys, if you have any clarification on that, please share with me. But this person is not your forever person. How much ever you want to hope, wish, and believe in your fairy tale ending, Contrary to what you see on television and the media, such relationships are born out of conflict and end in conflict. They are extremely unhealthy and usually do not last. Now, as I've been volleying back and forth and telling you about some of my experiences and other people's experience and clients' experience as well, what I want you to understand is that for me, a soulmated relationship that I've been examining recently didn't last, but it wasn't born out of conflict. So that's where I'm making the line of delineation that it was actually a soulmated relationship. I do believe that I've been watching some folks that I know enter into karmic relationships with others where I was trying to stop it and trying to help them and trying to fix it. But I realized this person that you are choosing, and clients that I try to walk them through not choosing karmics when I'm noticing it happen, this person that you are choosing is there, and they're probably going to cause you great pain and great injury, but you are going to learn so much. And here's the difference. I do have a difference between the soulmate and the karmic. The soulmate may never have the tenacity or the backbone because they're so drawn to you to cause you the kind of pain that a karmic would. But without that pain, unfortunately, you will not learn the lessons that you need to learn. Meaning that you may have a triangulated situation where you have your soulmate and you have a karmic. You love your soulmate, but you've taken your soulmate completely for granted. That karmic comes in and they're exhilarating, shiny, glittery, and you think, ooh, Mufasa, I finally have one. This is so good. And you may forfeit your relationship connection or whatever with the soulmate. The karmic looks amazing, sounds amazing. You feel like you vetted them. You're really proud of the relationship dynamic in exchange. You're pleased as punch with yourself. And that's when you get ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Here's what I want you to understand about this. The addictive nature, the quality. This card is represented with Scorpio. Scorpio represents death, life, regeneration. It represents sometimes it can deal with accidents. It can deal with things that are calamitous that happen. Scorpio is not all terrible. Scorpio is very transformative, but death and sex are transformative, aren't they? And doesn't it make sense that this card of addiction associated with Scorpio is one of the major tenets you'll notice in a karmic relationship, because that's how they pull you in. And so I want you to understand that if you are dealing with a karmic, you'll notice this and you'll think, I have picked the right person. And then whammo, you get hit with this later. What will happen is all of the things that maybe you weren't going to learn with your soulmate because they maybe were too love and light, you will learn with your karmic because you actually value them. Remember what I said about the popularity, them being socially acceptable to you, you wanting to please them. You value them and you'll say, oh my gosh, I'll lay down my life. You're so amazing. I love everything you do. I want to be around you. I want to be like you. I want you to like me. It's kind of like the mean girl, cool girl, or a mean guy, cool guy in high school. That person will usually be a karmic energy for you because your soulmate would not have ever had the gumption, because your soulmate wants to just love you more often than not. Even if your lives don't align, because life is weird that way and we all have varying relationships happening, your soulmate will want to help. Your karmic won't care. They're selfish. And you will think you're safe. And boom, you'll get hit with some of those lessons that you need to learn. But it's all to help you grow. I don't say it with like glee. I say it so that you understand that if you feel like you're being caught in an undertow of toxicity, it probably is because you are. But I want you to categorize it correctly so that you don't stay longer than you have to. Karmic relationships can go for months. They can go for years. Just like soulmate relationships. Soulmate relationships usually are throughout the duration of your lifetime. I also want to tell you something. If you've had to walk away from a soulmate or life has caused it not to be, understand that you'll meet with them again in another part of life, in this lifetime or another one. And that doesn't make it easy to release, but it makes it better to understand when you both have done your spiritual work and grown, you will return back to one another when you can both be fair and calm. But usually a karmic comes in and blows a soulmate out of the water, and the soulmate will be like, what? But the karmic is there to teach you things that the soulmate never could. And so you have to embrace that lesson too, but understand what it is and don't tarry too long. Do not linger in the situation, guys, because it will cripple you emotionally. And if you overstay your welcome anywhere, we all know how that goes. So I just wanted to pass that along to you. Karmics and soulmates, a little bit of overlap. I'm going to make a video about soulmates specifically, but the karmics are interesting. Pay attention for them, okay? So glad we got to share some energy today. I want you to come back and join me, and we will continue to evolve together.